I scoured the internet for a long time looking for the 10 things Americans don't understand about Europe. What I mean by scoured, I mean I asked Google and I watched TikTok videos, so you don't have to. And so, with that said, let's get into it.
Number 1. Paying to use the bathroom.
Paying to use the bathroom has to be the most diabolical thing that the Europeans have ever come up with. Like, my American brain and all of its curly hair and lack of intellect cannot comprehend the fact that I just paid almost €2 to use the bathroom. Like, it's diabolical. Like, I spent €4, almost 5, for water at a restaurant that I pay to put into my body, and then I pay another €2 to shit it out. Like, Europe is literally farming. They're farming my internal body processing.
Guys, guess what? In Belgium, you have to pay 70 cents to pee. Yeah, exactly. Just to go to the toilets. 70 cents. Oh yeah, and no cash, only with card.
Honestly, I've never paid to use a bathroom here in Europe. Typically, you just go to a restaurant or any place that you pay or visit and they allow you to use the restroom. Now, I have seen where if you're like in a public place, yes, they do ask if you do pay. And what I was told is because so people can clean it, keep the facilities clean and nice. Have you ever experienced a public restroom in America? For example, have you ever gone to a gas station in America and seen what the public restrooms look like there? It's a disaster. I've literally seen public restrooms with needles. I've seen piss all over the floor. I'm sorry, that sounds disgusting, but it's true. And I've seen feces on the wall and all over the toilet seat. So if that means I have to pay €1 or €2 for a clean bathroom, I don't know. Maybe it's worth it. But it also reminds me in the States, if you don't pay for a service, you can't use the restrooms. So I think that's kind of how that is here in Europe. But like I mentioned, I've personally never paid to use the bathroom. To be honest, if you have to use the bathroom, you have to go really bad. I can understand why some Americans find this a bit frustrating. But at the same time, you are in another country. So I don't know. Keep that in mind.
Number 2. Ice in drinks.
So first off, with the pop, yeah, there's no ice. You can't ask for ice. Also, you know, when you go to a petrol station or gas station and fill up your car, you know how like in the USA, we love going into like a Casey's or a Quick Trip and getting one of those big drinks full of ice and Diet Coke. Yeah, there might be fountain drinks, but there's no ice here. Also, forgot to tell you guys that movies here in the Netherlands and usually throughout Europe, they'll have an intermission. So halfway through the movie just shuts off and you can get up and go get more snacks or more drinks. Today's intermission, I got up and got a water because that Fanta drink was lemon and it was carbonated and it was way too sweet for me. So there's been a lot of things that I've had to get used to when moving to Europe, the Netherlands. The first thing I ever bought when I moved here was an ice machine. Before ice machines were cool on TikTok, I had one, guys. I had one.
I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what this lady's talking about because it's not like Europe is in the Stone Age where you can't get ice. If you ask ice in a lot of places, they'll give you ice. I don't know about Denmark because I've never been to Denmark, but every other European countries I ever visit, when I ask for ice, they give you ice. Now also, I've never had an intermission at a movie theater here in Poland. I'm not sure what it's like in Denmark, so if you're European, let me know. Do you guys have intermissions? Maybe for long movies, maybe like Lord of the Rings. I don't know. There might be an intermission. You may want to take a pee break. I'm old, so that's kind of nice. But I've never actually had an intermission here in Poland anytime I ever went to the movie theater. Europe also has ice machines. You can literally get it with the refrigerators with the freezer. And it has an ice machine. I don't know what the hell she's talking about, but you know.
Hey guys, so I just got this like peached iced tea or something from Costa. I rarely ever get like drinks out or anything like that, but I asked for an iced tea and it just makes me think about like how in America obviously the size is smaller. This is meant to be a medium, whereas like in America it'd be a lot bigger than this. But also like, is it normal that you guys don't fill up your ice drinks with like loads of ice? Because when I normally get like an ice drink in America, it's literally like you can shake it around and there's like just a lot of ice in there. Just curious, or is it normal to get an iced drink and have no ice? It's just cold.
Shocker for Americans who visit Germany or any European country for that matter, but Germany. Whenever you ask for iced water, well, usually you know ice with it. Just cold water. Like if you want ice water, like I would like ice waters and cold with ice in it, they give you cold water. If you want ice cubes in your water, you have to like ask, like I want cold water with ice cubes. I don't know why this is like brought up in the first place, but I just thought like in case you're so worried about having ice cubes in your drink, that I would let you know.
Having ice in drink, I'm personally not a fan of because it just waters down the flavor of the soft drink that you're drinking. However, I can understand why many Americans find this what the hell, because we're so used to having a shit ton of ice put in our soda or in our drinks. And especially, I hear this a lot from Americans, there's no iced latte or there isn't iced coffee. Yeah, I guess so, but I don't know. There's a cultural difference, and I don't really see Europeans drinking Starbucks. Not to say there isn't Starbucks here in Europe, and not to say that Europeans don't drink Starbucks. It's just, you mostly see Europe drinking coffee at cafes. I personally prefer that. I don't know, the ambiance, you can stay there isn't this rush. It's just relaxing, it's cathartic. It's really nice in my opinion. I can see how this could be different and even annoying. But at the same time, if you live here, you get used to it. But honestly, I'm not a huge fan of ice. But if you ask for ice, they'll absolutely, for sure, give you ice. So if you do like ice in your drink, just ask the waiter or waitress for ice. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Number 3. The lack of free water and bread.
It's weird as Europeans don't really carry around water bottles. Like if you're carrying around a water bottle, that's like a giveaway that you're American. I don't know why. They'd be dehydrated out here because not only are they not carrying around water bottles, water is not free in the restaurants, and water is not free at the club. Water is not free anywhere. And people don't really carry around water bottles. And I would say water fountains is not as common. I don't know why people ain't drinking water out here.
As an American living in Portugal, one thing that took me by surprise is bread in the restaurant. First of all, Portugal is probably the only country in the world that eat breads before, during, and after dinner. So bread is life in Portugal. But in addition, you pay for the bread here in restaurants. That is very unique because in the US, they fill you up with bread so they don't have to, so you're not eating too much. I don't know why, but they give you tons of bread for free. But in Portugal, you pay for the bread.
Something about the fact that Europe charges for bread and water makes me so patriotic, and every single time like I see the fact that it costs money, I feel a little more prideful about being American. Like sure, we have a lot of issues, you know, but at least we don't charge you for bread and water, and it's like, well, that's common decency. Like you're gonna charge me to drink water out of everything? Like God forbid I'm hydrated, okay? And then also, service kind of sucks in Europe. Like, it kind of fucking sucks, you know? And, you know, I get it. Maybe that's just how you guys live, and maybe it's just I've gone to bad restaurants.
You know, I'm guilty as charged with this as well. When I first moved to Europe, I thought if you go to a restaurant, you'll get free water. That's not the case in many restaurants. Now, I've actually gotten free water before and free bread, so this isn't something where it doesn't happen, but this isn't ubiquitous throughout Europe or throughout the restaurants here in Europe. Typically, you have to pay for still water or sparkling water. And I know that might be a bit of an adjustment because it was for me. I wasn't used to that. And to be honest, I don't understand why, if I'm gonna be completely honest, but it is what it is. And if you're in Rome, right? But again, you are in Europe. And I understand if you go to like in America to Olive Garden, you get the unlimited breadsticks. You have obviously free water. Free water is something that you predominantly get in restaurants all over America. They don't do that here in Europe. And if you're European, please let us know in the comments because that's something I personally don't know. But yes, you don't get free water or you don't get free bread here in Europe, typically.
By French law, restaurants, bars, and cafes that serve meals are required to provide free tap water, known as un carafe d'eau, to paying customers.
And when I say Europe, I mean the continent, and I don't mean as Europe as one big country, because I understand why Europeans find that annoying.
Number 4. Different tipping etiquette.
There's no tax or tip required when you go out for a meal. Of course, if you have really great service, leaving a tip is definitely appreciated and super nice, but it's not like in the US where tips are not only mandatory, but 20% is expected. So if you wanted to leave a tip here in Paris, you don't have to actually leave 20%. You can leave whatever you want. This makes paying for the bill and splitting the bill so easy. If I went to a restaurant and I got a burger and it said on the menu, 15 euros, it's literally all I'm gonna be paying when the bill comes around. It means if I went out to eat with a friend and they got a salad that was 10 euros, you know exactly what we're each paying for. I'm paying 15 and she's paying 10. There's no tax or tip that we also need to divvy up. This makes splitting bills in Paris so easy. Also, the waiters really don't mind doing it because in most restaurants in Paris, they have the portable credit card machines. So you just walk over to your table with it and type in whatever amount they want into the machine. So if the bill comes and it's 25 euros, you can then just tell the waitress that I like to pay 15 euros. My friend can tell her that she wants to pay 10. Of course, in Paris, if you're getting a great service, tips are 100% appreciated. This is not to say you should never leave a tip. It's just so different than in the US, where not only are tips expected, but 20% is usually what you should be tipping.
If you're traveling to Europe and plan on going out to eat, you need to listen to this advice. Tip culture is very different in Europe and varies from country to country, sometimes region to region. So before you sign that first bill at your first restaurant, Google the tip culture for your destination country or city. In Germany, I learned it wasn't customary to tip, but it is customary to tip in Poland, but not mandatory. Do it. If your home country's currency makes your destination country's meal very, very inexpensive, tip generously. Other countries, however, find it rude to tip, like you're saying they don't make enough. Really, if you just Google, is it customary to tip in your country or city, it will tell you right there. And if you look more, it even says it's to tip like not just servers, but other people too. Okay, you look me in the eyes right now. Tipping is a thing in some places in Europe. You don't not tip everywhere. You say it out loud. You promise me right now, I'm going to look it up to see if you have to tip, and you're gonna tip if you should tip. Don't be a rude or ignorant tourist, okay?
Can someone please tell me why Europeans don't tip at restaurants? How do workers at restaurants even earn money if they don't receive any tips at all? Are they volunteers? I really don't get it, and I find it so strange and greedy.
Honestly, this was something I had to get used to because I'm so used to tipping 20%. And when I'm ready to tip, my wife's like, why are you tipping so much? I'm like, aren't you supposed to? And she's like, no, this is what America does. And I get that. And I've learned to, okay, I'm lying. I still tip. I don't know. It's just something that I think as American, we're extremely ingrained in. This is just embedded in who we are, the fibers of America that runs through our heart and soul. Now, it is wild that you do have American social justice warriors who are complaining and saying, how come Europe isn't tipping? And what are they doing this for free? It's your culture. And why does this matter to you? Let Europe just do Europe. And why are we giving our 2 cents how Europe should be? If Europeans don't want to pay tip, then that's Europe. But Americans, if you come to Europe, the tipping culture isn't as strong as it is in America. Not to say that they don't appreciate it. And I do recommend that you do, especially if you get great service. But we'll touch on the service soon enough.
Number 5, customer service hits different.
Biggest mistake I made as an American moving to Berlin is carrying the expectation of good customer service. The definition of good customer service is somebody that goes above and beyond their expected role. That's something that most people in America expect. What's good customer service here could just be simply you get your beer and that's it. You order something and you got it. That's as good as it gets. As an American, that can be pretty jarring because you're used to people's job being tied to the service they provide in some cases. Whereas out here, it's like, hey, look, I get paid the wage regardless of the service I give you. That's a mistake I have because I'll be there kind of with this anxiety, like, come on, I ordered beer and where's the beer? Where's the beer? And they're like, hey, I'm washing all the cups that people gave to me after drinking the beer. So you're going to wait. I have to adjust my anxiety here. It has given me more anxiety than I know what to do with it.
Moving with urgency. When I say there's no customer service in Paris, I'm not just talking about like them being rude or them telling you that it's your fault or c'est pas possible, all of those things which are true. I'm talking about the general apathetic, unbothered, there's never a hurry mindset of people who work with service. For example, you know how in the US at a fast food restaurant, they are timed at how long it takes the customer to get from the window where they order to the window where they pay? Well, that means that they thought about the concept of how long things take, they measured it, they then made an objective to ensure that things are done quickly so that customers do not have to wait and to ensure like a good customer experience, right? I am certain that in France, no person has ever had a conversation with their staff about how long things take, about lines, about quick checkouts, anything like that. Never has been discussed, I swear. When you walk into a store in Paris, you're now in their world. The person checking you out, they're gonna do things at their own pace. If there's a big line, sucks for you. If there's only one register open, but you're having a really interesting conversation with your colleague who's folding clothes behind you, you're gonna continue that conversation. The line, the people standing there, they're just an audience at this point. If you're in the middle of telling your coworker about what you did last night and a new customer approaches your cash register, the story comes first, let me tell you. It just took me 20 minutes to fill my allergy prescription because there were 2 pharmacists and one of them was having a lifelong discussion, it appears, with one of the customers that took 20 minutes. And then the other pharmacist was in the back on the phone, cackling, having the time of her life on the phone. Line going out the door, who cares? Just last week, it took me 12 minutes to check out at Bershka because the woman working the cash register was chatting with the customer, and then the customer asked her where she got her shirt, so she pulls out her phone, and they're now sharing Instagram links back and forth, even though there's a huge line. It doesn't matter. Who cares? A line? What's a line? Never heard of it. You go to a concert in Paris, when there's a huge line of people waiting for their drinks, the bartenders, it's like they're walking more slowly than they do on the sidewalk. There's no urgency. There's no stress behind those eyes. It's just another day at the office for them. And this is one of those things that makes me, I don't know, it gives perspective, right? Because in the US, where you can be fired for no reason, and a lot of people rely on tips, that service is fast. There's a line. I have seen bartenders look like they're in the goddamn Olympics. Hell, when I was a server, when I was a bartender, I would be cruising. This table needs ketchup, that table needs the check, I got a seat, that table, bam, 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 left, right, boom. But in France, in the land of permanent contracts where you can't be fired so easily, why rush? Why sweat? Why stress?
I forgot what it's like to go to one of these outdoor Polish markets. And I went into one of the bakeries, and I forgot about how great customer service is. I asked the cashier what kind of lemonade is with owoc pejoa. What is that? And she said, no owoc taki. No jak? No owoc. Like, okay, I guess I'll try that then. She just said it's a fruit. That's it. No explanation. I'm like, okay, thanks for your help.
Hearing these Americans talk about European service, I kind of laugh because I actually like European service because they're not always asking, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Are you happy? How's the food? I'm an introvert, so I just give me my food. And if you see that I need a refill, I'm speaking about America, then yeah, ask if I need a refill. But don't constantly just keep bugging me. And I get it. I understand that in America, our culture, our hospitality is everything okay? Is there anything else that I can give you? Is there anything else I can help you with? Many of us have been servers. Many of us have worked at restaurants. So yes, I understand that aspect of it. But in Europe, there isn't this rush. There isn't this, hey, I need to leave within 20 minutes because there's people waiting for this table. And that also took me some time to get used to. Just kind of relax and enjoy the meal. When you get used to this type of service where you kind of have to ask, hey, I need this, or hey, I need to have to check, because they don't want you to feel like you're in a rush. And that's something that's a little bit different. When you go to restaurants, the restaurants are supposed to be more of a relaxing time for friends, time for family. And based on my own personal experience, you take your time when you go out at a restaurant or even cafes, we can spend hours there. It's that slower pace, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Europeans be like, we're not slower pace. Look, there's no win-win when it comes to this. Everyone's gonna have an opinion. And as far as customer service, which that young lady was talking about in France, my experience, I've never really had poor customer service. My only poor customer service was over the phone when I was in the States and I had an airplane ticket. Due to COVID, it got canceled and I had to have a lovely experience with a German customer service. And yeah, it wasn't good. It was not good. I'm thinking to myself, do they all talk like this? But yeah, it was a really poor service. But it's not just indicative of Europe. I think you can have poor service anywhere you go. But I'm not going to invalidate what these people are saying because this is their experience. This is their point of view. Do I think some of them are a bit silly? Yeah. But again, I do kind of understand about the customer service because as American, and I'm not saying this is good or bad, we're just used to the American customer service. And the customer service, I'm not saying it's bad in Europe, it's just different.
Number 6, no air conditioning.
The one thing I don't understand about Europeans is why you guys don't use air conditioning. Okay, I'm in Norway, it's hot. I'm hot all the time. I'm like sticky and sweaty. I didn't even know it was possible for it to get hot here, but it does. And in Italy, why are Italians scared of air conditioning? I swear to God, it doesn't make you sick. Like, I feel sick from how warm and sticky I am all the time, please. Yeah, why? Why do you guys hate air conditioning so much? Like,
Can anybody explain to me why, despite the fact that every single year the summers are getting hotter and hotter, they're breaking more and more records, and the population of Germany is getting older and older, can anybody explain to me why, despite all this, they still refuse to have air conditioning in like most places? As an American, I know it's a pretty big cliche that like we love air conditioning, we don't give a shit about the environment, all that stuff, which is kind of probably true. But I've been in Germany for over 10 years now, and like I still have not gotten used to this fact. And now that it's getting warm again, I go into the trains, and what do you know? There's no air conditioning, and it's hot and it's stuffy, and I just cannot get over this. So, like, and I mean this in a sincere way. Why do we not have it? And like for the Germans out there, the Europeans, but the Germans out there, like, what is this fear? Because you always say, oh, it's only like 1 or 2 weeks of being 30 degrees and it's not that hot. It's more than that, and it's hot. So let me know. I'm very curious, and also if the Americans that are living in Germany, how do you deal with it? What's your perspective on it? Like, I'm really, really curious to know. Are you used to it now? And the Germans that then traveled to the US in summertime and had air conditioning, did you love it or not? And don't tell me you got sick from it, because that doesn't happen.
So I got a lot of feedback as an American living in Europe with no AC. Clearly that's a huge adjustment for me. I've always had AC. Before I was cracking the windows in the morning, but I would also have the rollades open. So now we are cracking the windows like all night long and cracking the windows in the morning. And then throughout the day, we're keeping the rollades locked and shut. I'll keep like one a little bit cracked just for my plants, because my plants need the sun. But overall, I feel like the temperature in the house has already gone down substantially since we have shut like pretty much all the rollades in the house. So thank you guys for that. We definitely still need a few fans in the house, because right now we only have one plug-in fan. But yeah, it's doing way better. So thanks guys for the feedback on that video. I still miss my AC, I'm not gonna lie to you, but those things are definitely helping handle the heat in the house. So that's my update.
Yeah, a lot of flats don't have air conditioning, but a lot of newer flats do. And you can even purchase an air conditioning unit if you want to, especially if you're moving here to Europe. Yeah, Europe doesn't have air conditioning. Like my flat I live in, it's a newer flat. We don't have air conditioning here because typically fans work well enough. Who knows about this year, because we're gonna have a really strong El Nino, and according to what these meteorologists are saying, it's gonna be a pretty bad and hot summer. So that's something to look forward to. Europe, for me, living in a country in Europe, I've never had the wanting of using a air conditioning. Now maybe this year might be different, but typically, like I mentioned, having fans work well enough, and at night it cools down where it's really comfortable to sleep in. Now I do recognize that a lot of European countries like the UK, Spain, Portugal, Italy, France, temperatures are warming up, and those temperatures, those rising temperatures, are encroaching eastwardly. So I've noticed this trend that warmer climate is happening in Europe. And I believe that many Europeans are now getting AC units. And I completely understand, because when it does get this warm, when it does become 36 degrees or possibly even 40 degrees, it's really unbearable without air conditioning. Now, yes, maybe fans for some people work. For example, like myself, it works for now. But that could change. And that can change really soon. And I know for a lot of Americans, if you come and move to any respective European countries, it might be like, wow, they don't have air conditioning here. A lot of flats, that's true. But like I mentioned, you can purchase an air conditioning unit. Also, a lot of the newer flats come with them. And what I was told is because Europe was never this warm before. Now, if you want to argue climate change, I don't personally know, I'm not a scientist, but I have noticed that there is a trend. Europe is now getting warmer. So maybe down the future, you're gonna see a lot more homes and flats with air conditioning.
Number 7, lack of window screens.
Something I think about every single day in the summer in France is this. Why, for the love of God, don't window screens exist here? Because it's blazing hot. We don't have AC. I'm not gonna get into the la clim debate, but like everybody has their windows open all the time. Here's my window, here are all my neighbors' windows. So we're all just trying to survive the heat, but like why aren't there window screens? Because there are bugs coming in all the time. I'm also scared of like birds flying in the window. Is it because windows aren't standard sizes here? I have really thought about this and I'm genuinely perplexed. I cannot figure out any like logical reason why I've never seen a single window screen in my entire time living in France. So somebody please help me understand.
So I posted a video with myself opening my windows in my house and we do not have screens. I got a lot of responses from people saying that every house in Italy has screens. This is not true. I'm gonna show you guys my house, which does not have screens. No screen, no screen, no screen, no screen.
Hi, I'm an American that has lived in Ireland for 6 years and I absolutely love it here. There are very few things that I actually miss about home. But whenever it's a hot day like this, I do miss the fact that it's just not common to have screens in the windows here. Like, I don't know why it's not a thing. It's something I definitely wish was a thing. And before you comment it, I have ordered those screens online that you can put up with the stickies, but the problem, at least in my house, is that all of my windows open out. So if I want to open the window, I have to take the screen all the way down, put it back up, and to be honest, I'm lazy. I don't like doing that. I just want it in the window. And also, like, you have warm days here, so there would be situations that you'd want to leave the window open and just not have the fear of a fly coming in and annoying you in the middle of the night. So yeah. Food for thought. Would love if it became a thing. Maybe it will because of global warming. Who knows? But yeah, one of my only complaints about Ireland.
Yeah, this is true. My flat, I don't have a mesh or a mosquito net or a bug net or any type of net over the window. It's open. I never asked why. It's just when in Rome, right? But yeah, like some of these creators mentioned, bugs do come in. I do have a separate vacuum for these bugs. Just vacuum it and release it. Now, if it's like a spider, because my wife absolutely hates spiders, that's a different story. I can understand if you have open windows and there's no mesh, there's no net, or there's nothing that's blocking insects coming in. That could be kind of daunting and kind of scary for some people. I personally got used to it. So yeah, if you visit Europe or if you plan on moving here, keep in mind there isn't any sort of bug net or any sort of windscreen or net over the windows. Now you can purchase them and you can then put it up yourself. Now there are also these little nets where they have these magnets, and when you open, they connect to one another. So that's something you could be thinking about as well too. And I've used those in the past and they work well. But yeah, like I said, if you're planning to visit or move to Europe, a lot of places don't have any sort of bug net or mosquito nets or anything of that nature. But as I mentioned, you can also purchase it yourself and put it up. So that's also an option.
Number 8, walking culture.
Here are 3 things Americans need to know about British walking culture. Thing number 1, it's prevalent. Just be prepared to do it a lot. Like right now, I am walking to my haircut. It's about a 15-minute walk. It's about a little under a mile. This is just what you do. Obviously, plenty of people have cars, but there are loads of people who live without a car and have no issues whatsoever. You can live in a medium-sized city or town without a car and have no problems. Especially if you're visiting London, I would not get a car. Do not get a car. You will be punished. Because of that, thing number 2, you're going to walk way, way more than you expect to. This will be probably your primary mode of transportation while you're here, so bring your walking shoes.
Why are Europeans so much skinnier than Americans? Well, maybe it has something to do with this. These giant hills everywhere. We've been living in Lisbon, Portugal for almost a week now, and our legs, it feels like we've done leg day at the gym every single day straight. It's like the best workout. People keep telling us that you don't need to go to the gym here. You just walk everywhere. And honestly, we believe them. Like, I'm rocking some mad shin splints right now, but you know what? We love it. We love having to walk everywhere. And when we can't walk, we take the metro. But walking everywhere forces exploration. I mean, like, look at this. You just walk across that. Oh, but look at this, another hill. Yep, all the way down there is where we need to be.
Okay, so I want to talk about this walking culture.
It doesn't matter what's happening. Like, is it raining? You're walking. Is it thunderstorming? You're walking. Is it 30 minutes away? You're walking. Is it lunchtime? You're walking. Did you just eat a really big meal? You're walking. Anyway, it doesn't really matter what the conditions are is the point. I mean, a lot of times I really don't feel like it, right? Especially if I'm tired, but it's good for you.
You will be walking a lot here in Europe. And personally, I prefer that, if I'm going to be honest. While many countries in Europe, you can walk everywhere. To be able to really enjoy everything, I honestly prefer walking. You can really take in all the ambiance. I think Lisbon is a great city for walking. I think Istanbul is a great city for walking. I think there's a lot of great cities you can really enjoy in taking in the culture, taking in the architect, which I really like. Each European city has their own little flavor with their architects. So if that's something you're into, yeah, you're gonna really enjoy, because you can walk everywhere. You walk to your work. You can walk to the grocery store. You can walk to the gym. You walk everywhere. And that's just really predominantly the culture. And in my humble opinion, if you're a tourist or if you're coming here to move, walk everywhere. Just enjoy your time in Europe, because Europe has a lot of amazing things to offer. And when you come here, the architecture, it's really gonna blow your mind. And a pro tip, if you go on an escalator, stay on the right side. Don't stay in the middle or don't go on the left side, because people who don't want to enjoy that lovely ride, they'd rather walk up the stairs. And if you're blocking that lane, yeah, people are going to get annoyed. And they're also going to know, oh, this person is American. So just a pro tip.
Number 9, smoking is common.
One of the things I was really worried about when I moved to Barcelona was how many people smoke cigarettes. I cannot stand it. And I've been keeping the doors open a lot, and it's beautiful here in Barcelona right now. Like, how can you not have the doors open? Like, blue skies, no clouds, incredible temperatures. And every so often I'll just get this like waft of cigarette smoke into the apartment, and I'm like, I don't need this in my home. At least like when you're outside, you can walk away, you can, do one of these, whatever. Like, it's minimal. Like, it's actually not nearly as bad as I was worried about it being here, because Europeans are always smoking, like, whatever. It hasn't been that bad. It's been totally tolerable, but I don't like it when it comes into my apartment. I don't think you can like do anything for that. And then you just have to let it dissipate, because you can't close the doors and then shut it in. So you just kind of have to deal with it. At least it's temporary and it's only every so often.
People in Italy still smoke, because it's rare to find a young person in America just lounging around smoking cigarettes like they did when I was growing up. But over here it seems very normal. The other day I went to a cafe to get my morning coffee. There were 3 grandmothers doting over a baby in a stroller. The only thing is they were smoking cigarettes while they were doing this. Like, just smoking, smoke blowing up in the air, blowing on the baby, blowing around. It completely blew my mind, because that's something would not be acceptable in America. Couldn't be imagined, but nobody even gave them a second look except for me, because apparently smoking, even around babies, is normal. And I think it used to be fashionable or beautiful or something. I don't see that, though I do see lots of absolutely beautiful people and well-dressed people, but smoking is just normalized over here. Like, people in the middle of a conversation will start rolling up a cigarette or pull out a pack of cigarettes or just kind of be tapping them like we used to when we were kids.
I did immediately smelling like smoke the second I step into Prague. I swear, like, every European city has a ton of smokers. Like, I will walk down the block, at least one person is smoking. I realized they probably did not get the American memo where like smoking can kill you, or maybe they just don't care. I don't know what it is, but I'm like sprint walking past any smoker, because I'm like, I don't want any secondhand smoke. I don't want to die.
Europeans, you did not get the American memo.
This is something I'm still not used to. I noticed in many European countries that people tend to smoke more openly than in the States. Europe, if you go to America, keep in mind, if you smoke publicly, you're gonna get a lot of frowns. It's just culturally not acceptable. There are smoking areas. And yes, I do understand also in many European countries, they also have that. Like here in Poland, they have smoking areas. You're not supposed to be smoking on your balcony, and typically you're supposed to go outside and there's like little places where people smoke. And many times you see people doing that. But if you're in public, yes, you're gonna see people who are walking and they're smoking a cigarette or even a vape. And yeah, it's just, for Americans, it's kind of cringy. We don't like it. And I totally understand why we are like that. But at the same time, America, we do dumb things as well too. I used to do Uber when I was going to university, and a lot of times you would have people come in smoking a vape in your vehicle, or they smell like marijuana and your whole car smells like marijuana, and you have to roll down the window. And then the next passenger that comes into my car, I have to explain to them, hey, no, I'm not stoned, I'm not high. It was just the other passenger who really smelled like marijuana. So yes, we're guilty in some things as well too. But to this point, if you come and visit Europe, or you're planning on moving to one of the European countries, get used to having people smoking around you. And I will say, there's also a lot of Europeans that also don't like it as well too.
Number 10, driving in Europe.
So we accidentally rented a manual car without knowing. So our Italian Hertz guy is giving Judah a lesson. And an hour and a half drive, no big deal.
So here's what it's like to drive in Sweden. One of my favorite things is that they warn you if there's a speed camera up ahead, and they remind you of the speed you're supposed to be going so you don't get a ticket. When you're learning to drive in Sweden, you get this huge sign to put on the back of your car that says övningskör, and that just means you're learning how to drive. And that's so smart. I don't know why we don't have that in America. It's funny, and I grew up in San Francisco, 6-lane highways, crazy intersections, parallel parking. Do you think anyone had patience with me? No. People were honking at me, people were yelling at me, and I remember being so stressed. So nice, because if you have that sign on the back, everyone is so much more patient with you. We need to bring that to America. One thing you do have to get used to is we have roundabouts everywhere. So much better than four-way stops. In the neighborhood I grew up in, they tried to put in roundabouts, but they did not work at all. Because they planned them completely wrong. They just took like a regular 4-stop intersection and just put this like big round like rock in the middle of it. They're like, look, our roundabout. No. If a roundabout's too small, then it completely defeats the purpose of a roundabout. It just turns into a 4-way intersection anyway. But the roundabouts in Sweden are big, actually work, and are so effective. But stressful if you're not used to them. Also, manual cars are everywhere. Here in Sweden, most everyone I know either owns a manual car or knows how to drive a manual, or doesn't own a car at all because public transportation is so amazing. Another thing is that you cannot drink and drive in Sweden. In America, the legal limit is 0.08. In Sweden, I believe it's like 0.02. Drinking and driving in America is actually so common. I remember being so surprised coming to college and realizing how common that was. And that's so bad. In Sweden, no. When you drive to my place in Sweden, there's a lot of deer and everything. And if you accidentally hit a deer, there's a hunter you call to basically go out into the woods with his dog to mercy kill the deer so it doesn't suffer. But it happened to my mom one time. She accidentally hit a deer, but they didn't find the deer, so that means the deer was probably okay. He probably survived. The only thing I would change about Swedish driving is I wish you could turn right on red, because it's so effective. And my Swedish friends think I'm crazy when I say that, but it's kind of like the roundabout saying, like once you get used to turning right on red, see how much more effective, so then you love it. But yeah, now you're prepared to drive in Sweden.
Can someone please tell me why they don't drive big American trucks in Europe like they do in the rest of the world? Why are all cars in Europe so tiny, old and outdated? Are Europeans really comfortable riding these type of golf carts? I have not seen one American truck since I've moved here. Crazy.
First, can we get a moment of silence for that vehicle's transmission and clutch? Yeah, America. If you come as a tourist or if you move here, a lot of the vehicles are manual. So 5-speed, 6-speed, there's a clutch. Yeah, that's a thing here. Driving manual is very common here in Europe. And so if you're looking to rent a vehicle, I would ask, that's something that you should really look into, because don't be like those folks. I can only imagine what that worker was thinking. Oh my gosh, this person is going to destroy this car. There's a lot of Americans that don't know how to drive manuals, and I think it's something that you should learn how to drive, because one, I just think it's fun to drive manuals, but secondly, I think you have more control over your vehicle. Yeah, so driving in Europe, you're gonna have a lot of manual vehicles. So be prepared for that. And also, you're gonna learn a lot of culture. Like for example, in the UK, you drive, in my opinion, on the wrong side of the road. Also, the roundabouts. Roundabouts, if you're not used to it, it's wild. You get kind of confused because, let's be honest, Europeans, you guys can also be aggressive. And I'm not saying Americans aren't aggressive, because if you drive in Los Angeles, if you drive in Phoenix and Houston, Philadelphia, holy shit. But what I am saying is that it is definitely different. There's different signposts that you have to learn. There are different ways of driving. For example, like she mentioned, you can't turn on right on red.
Which you should, as it is life-changing.
And then lastly, you're not going to see a lot of huge vehicles. I do believe this person's account is a troll, if I'm going to be honest. I just think they're trying to make people upset and angry. It worked because when I'm listening to this, I'm like, this is really stupid. You're not going to see these turbo diesel dualies, which I would love in Europe. And so Ford, Dodge, Chevy, if you want to give me one, I will absolutely hype your company up to the moon. I would love to have one. It'd be fantastic. But yes, do not expect American size vehicles. Are they here? Absolutely. And every time I see them, like when I see a Ford Mustang, or if I see a Dodge Challenger, or even a Dodge Ram or a Ford F-150, I smile inside. It's kind of nice to see those.
So please do not expect American size vehicles in Europe.
So if you do decide to move to Europe or visit, just remember, it is in America. So maybe not have those same type of expectations. I totally understand there are some things that even I get annoyed with. For example, people smoking while walking in public. Call me a snowflake. It's just not, we just don't tolerate that in America. And I personally don't like it. And as I mentioned, many other Europeans don't like that as well. I would say, don't come here and say, I wish Europe was more like America. It's pretty insulting to locals, if I'm gonna be honest. But with that said, Europe is great. There's a lot of amazing things here. The food, the culture, the architect, everything. There's something that is magical here. And as an American that lives here in Poland, I love it. I love to be able to fly a couple hours and I'm in a new country, trying different cuisine and experiencing different culture. So America, let's enjoy our time living here in Europe. And I totally get it because it's gonna be hot as hell this summer. And low key, I kind of wish I had air conditioning. So if you do like this type of content and I bring value, I do ask if you can please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and also hit that hype button because as I always say, I'm really trying to build a community and grow with all of you. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you stayed till the end, you are true legends. And so with that said, and without further ado, let's get into it. Don't expect it to be like America, cause it's Europe, you silly Americans. We're silly Americans. Don't think it's gonna be like Europe, because it's not. That's the end.